I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Landmarks Commission, April 28th. It is 7 p.m.
Roll call. David Craycraft.
Here.
Rich Dabda here. Linda Henry.
Here.
Patrick Lynch.
Here.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger White.
Here.
I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Pete Lynch.
Second.
Roll call. David Craycraft.
Yes.
Rich Dabda, yes. Linda Henry.
Yes.
Patrick Lynch.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger White.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of March 24th?
So move.
Second?
Roll call. David Craycraft.
Yes.
Linda Henry.
Yes.
Rich Dabda, yes. Patrick Lynch.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger White.
Yes.
Andrew, could we have the first application?
Yes, the first application on tonight's agenda is CA 25013 for 17 North Trine Street. The request this evening is for a new fence in the rear yard. The property owner wanted me to let you guys know she was unable to make it this evening, a last minute emergency, but wanted me to run through the application, see if you guys had any questions that I could help answer. If not, she could return next month if there's anything you need to ask her specifically. The applicant is looking to install a new wood fence in the rear yard. The wood fence shown up on the screen will be double-sided on 3 sections of the fence. The side that's facing Trine here, this little corner connecting the garage and the house, and then this side facing the alley. The fence style here will be a kind of board-on-board look to make it look like a board and batten with a decorative top rail and then these caps on the posts. The side of the fence that is facing to the property in Canal Cove there, the adjoining neighborhood to the east would be a single-sided fence. The applicants also noted that they're going to be installing some landscaping on the northern side as well, where there is an existing fence to kind of help buffer that fence from their property. The application does note they want to paint the fence white to match the garage building after it weathers. So she was unable to make it here this evening, but if there's any questions I can try to help answer for you guys, great. If not, she said she'd be willing to come back next month.
Do you have what type of wood that is?
The application didn't indicate what kind of wood it would be. I do know that she does show a couple different styles in there. To me, most of them look like a mix between pressure treated and cedar. But I do know, unlike all these photos, she said she wanted to paint it.
And did you say the height of the fence?
6 foot.
The long stretch that you said the fence that backs up to Canal Cove, you said that's a single-sided fence.
Yeah, it is noted on the slide that is a single-sided design.
I mean, what's that mean? The battens aren't on the other side?
I'm going to assume that's what it means. The battens are not facing that neighborhood.
Okay. So we're looking at the finished fence right there in our picture in the top right.
Correct.
So how do you guys feel? I mean, should we know? I mean, pressure treated or cedar would be fine either way.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing in our guidelines to say it has to be one or the other. Cedar, I think, would hold up longer and not twist and bow over time, but cedar would be preferable, but, you know, I'm not sure that we can actually dictate one way or the other.
I mean, I just wondered the span between the post. I'm assuming the posts are 4x4s.
If they use 4x4s and they're spanning it with, in this picture, it looks like a 1x4 at the top and bottom rail. So more than likely it'd be sandwiched on both sides. So we'd have a 1x4, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top, sandwiched on both sides. That would be, I think, more than enough to
I mean,
support that
I just
fence.
wonder if the spacing between the posts is 6 feet, 8.
It's typically 8,
It's
but
like 8 or 10.
yeah. And I don't think it says here one way or the other whether it's 6 or 8. But 8 foot, I've seen them done in 8 foot, and it's held up just fine,
Okay.
based on my experience.
And are there any gates? Is that a gate along the alley side?
Yeah, there are.
There are several
three
gates. 3.
Yeah, one facing Trine Street, one at the sidewalk connection between the garage and the house, and then one on the opposite side of the garage.
And the single side will face into the property.
I would assume the single side would face into the property, given that the rest of it is dual-sided.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of backwards from the way we typically look at a fence where the more attractive side faces out. And here we'd have one whole section of the fence look better from the inside than the outside.
The batten side's facing outside, correct?
He said for the single-sided side, it would face.
I would,
into the
I would
property.
assume the batten side on the single side is facing in, because the other sections of fence aren't on a property line.
It'd be hard to add the battens.
Yeah, so putting the battens on the opposite side would,
I see.
I'm assuming, require some cooperation with the neighbor, which
Well, truth be
don't know
told,
if that exists.
with a fence like this, whether you have battens on or not, it's still a finished fence on both sides.
Right.
You add the battens on, it's not a necessary thing, it's a nice touch. So I guess if they choose to put the smooth side facing out and battens inside, you still have a finished fence on the outside.
Right. I mean, you
Either way.
could forget the battens altogether, and it's still gonna look like a finish.
It's still like, it would still be a nice finished fence,
Yeah.
both sides are the same. I used to do a lot of these fences, and it's, to me, it's the way to do a solid board fence.
Well, Pat, she could put battens on both sides, right?
You could if you want, but I don't think that's something we can,
No, we can't.
yeah, we
say
can't dictate it, but yeah, if they want to, absolutely. I think it'd be beautiful, but not necessary. Yeah.
You guys have any more questions?
There's no problem with 6 feet
Going to be pretty.
being at the house line, right? Like,
No, that's the limit
yeah,
for
that's what I thought.
the height of the fence.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve application CA-25-013 as stated.
I'll second.
Roll call, Roger White,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Patrick Lynch,
Yes,
Linda Henry,
Yes.
Rich Dowdy, yes, David Craycraft.
Yes.
The next application, CA 25014, for 10 West Oak Street. This request is also for a new fence on this property. The applicant has proposed in their application here a fence that extends the entire northern boundary of their property line, which would start here just to the northwest corner of their proposed parking lot that received approval last year, extends all the way down to the sidewalk there on North High Street. In the application, they note this style of fence here, which is an aluminum fence that has a dual rail at the top. After talking with the applicant on their submittal, staff has suggested that the fence limits actually terminate at the rear corner of the train station. Any fencing extending past the train station towards the street would have to step down to 3 feet in height, creating a strange visual kind of transition in that area. As well as staff had also asked the applicant if they would consider having the fence design be more in line with what received approval around the patio behind the building, which are these yellow lines, which would be a single rail fence style. Applicants here this evening to answer any questions. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot of opposition to staff's recommendation when we were emailing back and forth, but Todd can answer any questions you guys have for him.
I like the staff idea. I wasn't happy with the original proposition, but I do like your idea.
so we're switching to a single rail up top instead of the double?
Match the fence that's on the patio.
Okay,
So the first one that I sent to Andrew was a double top.
Yes.
That's why it's in the picture.
Like this.
And then, yes, and then we spoke prior to this meeting that it would be more consistent to have it match. They're only like 25 feet apart, the patio fence and this north property line fence.
yeah,
So that's why we asked to change it to a single rail.
okay. I think single rail looks better. I'm seeing here, so you're not adding columns at all to this fence area like I see in the picture? Okay, that's
No.
just around the patio. Okay.
In the original idea, what was the plan there at the bay window of the depot? Where those angles are, I was confused by what that was.
Oh, those were gates,
Okay,
because if you're familiar with the site, there's pavers out
Yeah.
on the north side. Well, where the property line is, the railroad owns 3 feet of those pavers. And the Historical Society owns the other. So this fence is going to cut those pavers in two. An interesting thing is when this was purchased from CSX in 1996, a prerequisite of the sale was that there be a fence put on the north property line, which never occurred. So,
Oops.
you know, if that would have happened 30 years ago, it had already been there. But this came to our attention by a person that lives in the city when we did our planning and zoning presentation, and she was concerned about people wandering off and the proximity to the railroad, if there's a function. So based on that, we called Matt Peoples and said, you got any history on that? And he did. He's got the documents, and that's when we saw that it did, in fact, it was supposed to have been put in 30 years ago.
Got it.
So are we here to approve the infill between the stone?
No,
No.
this detail, Dave, was approved previously. This is just the SNP was pulled from the approved landmarks application. That's what was referenced to the applicant on what style of fence to match with the new red line along the railroad right away.
So we're looking to approve this, right?
No.
No.
No, the
Single
single.
rail up top.
Yeah,
A
just
was-
one.
A single rail up
It's a
top.
2-rail fence, not a 3.
Yeah.
Yes, the staff's recommendation would be for a single rail and to have the fence terminate at the rear of the train depot.
And that actually runs it parallel to the railroad tracks then, doesn't it? If I'm looking at this drawing right.
Yeah, and when
Pretty
we were
much.
researching this, our setback is 20 feet. And on either side of us, it's 40 feet. So the railroad made a concession when they sold this piece, or the property line would be clear into almost into the elevator.
Wow.
You can actually see the old property line. It's this point right here, and this line
No, it's cut through.
that runs through. So
Oh.
this was all purchased from the railroad, that to the north.
should we follow the actual property line and then just step over to the depot? Instead of, you got the sliver there that's actually the Historical Society's.
They could, yeah.
Yeah.
I think from my illustration here was just showing it to terminate, whether it has a
Kickback.
kickback to it or whatever, that'd be up to the applicant.
I like the staff recommendation as is.
Okay, I'll make a motion. Any more questions first? I'll make a motion to approve certificate CA-25-0. That's not it.
1-4.
1-4.
Based on staff recommendations,
Yes. Based on staff's recommendation.
I'll second that.
Roll call. David Kirkcraft.
Yes.
Rich Dowdy, yes. Linda Henry.
Yes.
Patrick Lynch.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger White.
Yes.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
The next application, CA 25-015, the address is 94 West Waterloo Street. The applicant is requesting to install a new patio behind the single-family home. Up on the screen is a photograph of the front of the property. This home was constructed around 1921. The applicant has been to the Landmarks Commission several times in the past, so has a previous property owner, as noted in the staff report. The applicant is looking to do a new concrete patio within the rear yard. A site plan has been provided to show the area of work, as well as a description of the work being performed. This would include a larger broom-finished concrete pad right off the rear of the property, and then as it moves away from the egress door to the house, it would be oversized, I guess we're going to call them pavers, with a pea gravel finish in between them. Applicant's here to answer any questions you guys have. If there's anything you have for me, please let me know.
Question I have is, based on zoning, and I'm looking at non-permeable coverage. Is there any kind of ratio here in town based on
For lot
zoning's
coverage?
requirement for hard paved area?
Yes, so the Old Town District,
Non-permeable?
yes, so the Old Town District does not have a maximum lot coverage
Okay.
standard. The threshold is really as long as there's adequate yard space. So that really provides the opportunity for either to be a hardscape or natural yard space. This image here is a little misleading. This property is
Oh, wow.
just about as deep behind the garage as it is in front of it. So the area of work in relation to the rest of the property is a little different when you zoom out. So that's why I wanted to include this full
Is the applicant here?
property view.
Yes.
Could you come up to the podium and just sign in, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the area in the back does make a difference. Yeah. Otherwise, it looks like 90% of the lot is being covered with
Correct.
Yeah, that's
pavement and building.
like half an acre.
Hmm?
Looks like about half an acre.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, when you look at this picture, then that looks smaller of the
Yeah.
area.
The picture you just showed makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Do we have that picture? I don't think so. No, we didn't.
And then all this land here is concrete in front of the.
Correct, yeah,
garage,
that's
right?
the driveway in front of the garage.
Broom finish, seal or finish, okay.
Now, do we know what the finish looks gonna look like? I mean, is there a picture or anything like that?
The applicant, I think, can answer that. The details in the quote here says it's just a broom finish.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing decorative, just straight on.
Straight broom
Yeah,
finish?
Correct.
Yeah. And the whole yard's covered with a fence, isn't it?
Yes.
Except for the east side,
It is also fenced on the east side as well, too.
is it? Okay.
Yes.
Well, if nothing else, there's a building there that kind of covers every.
Correct.
Kind of like a fence itself.
Right.
Yeah, I got no questions. Looks pretty straightforward.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve CA 25015
I'll second.
as applied for.
Roll call, Roger White,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Patrick Lynch,
Yes.
Linda Henry,
Yes,
Rich Dabda, yes, David Craycraft.
Yes,
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Hugh.
Thank you.
thank you.
The next application, CA 25016. The address of the subject property is 100 West Columbus Street. The request this evening is for a new fence on the side and front yard of the home. Up on the screen, photograph of the subject property. This is one of the kind of newer homes, I say it lightly, in the Old Town District, built in 1977. This property is unique in that it has frontage on West Columbus Street, Washington Street, and Clinton Street. So with this property has 3 front yards by our zoning definitions. The fence that the applicant is looking to replace is start to be shown in this photograph here. They have provided more details in their application for you guys. But the applicant is looking to replace the existing 3-foot tall picket fence with the image shown in the lower right-hand screen. The applicant notes that this fence style is dual-sided, that there are pickets on both inside and outside. The photo provided by the applicant, just so the commission is aware, staff was unclear if it was a shadow box design or if those pickets were right in front of each other. The angle here is a little hard to determine. But the applicant's looking to replace the fence in the same location that it currently exists. If you have any questions, I believe
Hey,
Mark
Mark,
is here
could
to
you
answer
come
any
up and
questions.
sign in, please?
This is the school.
So are those are probably 1x6 boards, I'm assuming.
That sounds correct.
So there's a question of whether they're shadow box or if they're staggered.
Yeah, just the photos that were provided didn't make it super clear if they were shadow boxed. This photo looks like you can see through the pickets, but it's also, this side seems to be straight on, but then as this photo kind of pans this way, it looks like the offset is a little greater, so it was just,
Mark, you
I wasn't 100% sure.
So, the fence, the newer fence in the picture is actually in the historic downtown area as well. There's a 4-inch gap between each picket, and then there's a 3-inch depth of another one behind it. So it's not privacy where you can't see through it, as you can see through there. And the big reason for that is I noted the safety and child. As you can tell, the road, my fence is surrounded by the sidewalk and the new lane behind us leading to the new houses, and there is a high transit of dogs and people walking where the dog, my dog, their dog can and have stuck their nose and mouth through the current fence, and it's not safe for the other people or my 4-month-old, so it's big safety. I'm not trying to private and follow the 3-foot, but it does that little the 3-inch depth would prevent that from happening as well. And once again, it's in the same exact location that it's currently in, but the big change would be the 3-inch depth of another board on the other side, but not making it straight through.
Mark, I couldn't find in here, is it going to be stained?
It'll be a cedar fence.
So natural?
Like what you have there already?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're going to go with the shadow box, so it creates its offset, yes, but more of a solid look so the dogs can't
Correct.
see back and forth.
Yes.
That makes
So
more sense.
they're not able to stick their nose and mouth through, which they actually can't.
That makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, I would say just go with one side and save the wood, but if you're doing it for different reasons, which makes sense. You said a 3-inch space, so they're taking a 2x4 and they're laying it flat between the posts, or is it 2x4 on edge
Yeah,
for the
so,
construction of the fence?
so basically you have the 4-inch, and say the lower right picture is probably the best one, but it has a 4-inch gap in between, and then the 3-inch depth is where the next board on the opposite side that would kind of be a shadow box, but once again, not directly, is where you can still see gaps and not make it a complete privacy or anything
So
towards that.
the runners, which would be between the posts that they're nailed to, are those runners laying flat or on edge?
They are flat, I believe, on the
flat,
other side.
given a 3.5-inch space, right?
In between.
I would advise not doing that because what'll happen is your fence will sag unless you put your posts every 4 foot on center. There's just not enough to keep that, those 2x4s will actually bow over time and you'll have a scalloped fence. I would either double those up or just take the 2x4 and put it on edge, put it, up and down so you have an 1.5-inch gap. It'll actually close it up a little bit more to keep less stuff from looking through.
But you'll still have 3 inches, you'll have the 1.5 this way, then 3/4-inch board on this one end, one
And
side,
3/4 inch on the other side, yes.
So that'd be
yes.
3 inches.
Looking at this photo, I almost feel like it is like that.
Yeah,
It looks like
Yes,
it's
yeah.
like.
I don't want to act like I'm a fence expert.
This-
I
yeah, this
I know
just looks
Pickens
like-
Fence, who does a lot of fences in Canal, said this would be, qualify as something they've done a lot inside historic downtown. So I don't want to act like I'm an expert by any stretch.
Okay, I see, yeah, this is actually, that's,
Standing
it's
straight
on
up.
edge instead of flat, yeah.
And I actually do have more photos of the actual fence that as he said, I sent a PowerPoint and
It's easier to see
plenty of
there.
photos.
Yeah, it does look like it's on edge.
It is, yes,
Okay,
and
yeah,
that would
I'm
work
sorry.
because
Then that'll work.
I was understanding it to be flat, creating 3-inch gap, which
I don't know what that
it
means.
would bow something fierce. Yeah, you'd have a mess on your
Yeah.
hands, so.
And that fence is just a few houses down from mine. It's in the same one.
And dog ear style, just like that?
Mhm.
Cool. I like that better than what you have.
As
No
you can
offense,
see,
but-
it's all falling down. as
Well,
we-
see, I look at his fence every day.
No offense, yes.
I've been there 15 years and it's older than that, I know that.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve CA-25-016 as presented.
I'll second that.
Roll call, David Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Rich Dobde, yes. Linda Henry,
Yes.
Patrick Lynch,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Roger White.
Yes.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next application is CA 25-017. The address is 20 North Trine Street. The applicant has 2 applications for review this evening. The first is for garage alterations on the subject property. This property off of Trine Street has a rear-loaded garage that is at the intersection of these 2 alleys up on the screen. Here's just a photograph of the front of the home to those that know the street very well, kind of get familiar with it. The garage in the back, the applicant is looking to do some renovations to it. The first is they would like to replace the 3-tab asphalt shingle roof with a new black G-rib metal with the exposed fasteners. A detail for that metal roof was not provided in your application. For the siding, it currently has an 8-inch aluminum siding. The applicant is looking to remove the existing aluminum siding and install a new 8-inch vinyl siding in a sage green color. The applicant noted that with the siding replacement, these 2 barn swing out doors on the top would be removed. All the existing windows on the building and the door in the back would remain. The soffit and fascia would be wrapped in aluminum coil with a new vinyl siding. And then lastly, the applicant would like to redo their concrete driveway, install either a French drain or some kind of drain along the threshold of the garage door. During rain events, the driveway is sloped where it actually leads right into the building itself. The applicant has not indicated where the drain would be outletted at this time, but it's something that their contractor noted they could do is install some sort of drain at the threshold to help redistribute the water. The applicant has provided some details here on the vinyl siding. I believe she's also brought some physical samples for you guys to look at that are in addition to what's up on the screen. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to help answer. Applicant's here to talk to you about her project.
I would prefer no questions.
Andrew, don't we typically not approve the exterior mounted metal roofing?
You mean the exposed fasteners?
Yeah, the G-rib metal style has been approved only a handful of times in my tenure here at the city. I think more of the conversation that I've recalled in the metal roofing styles has to do with the architectural style the building is being placed on. That if that style is being more of an agricultural kind of heritage with the exposed fasteners is more appropriate for the structure it's being placed on versus other types. But I will say that the conversation seemed to tend to traditional standing seam when appropriate.
So you're saying the exposed fasteners would work on this garage?
I'm not a member of the Landmarks Commission.
I mean, I think we've turned down exposed fasteners on every one that I'm,
I recall having a roof removed
yeah.
and replaced with.
Right. Yeah, exposed fasteners, I believe they have like a 10-year lifespan before you gotta start pulling the nails up and replacing them because they start leaking. That's what I've heard from several roofing people as far as the barn style metal roofs.
Now, the cost is a lot less on the exposed compared to the other style.
Pardon?
Isn't the cost lower on this exposed fastener?
Oh, yeah. Standing seam is more expensive, yes.
But you've got to replace the fasteners sooner, sooner than the metal would wear out.
Correct. The metal will last a lot longer than the fasteners themselves. Standing seam is not an issue at all. Standing seam will last.
I mean, the roof that they just put on, the metal roof that they just put on my neighbor's house, that was I mean, it's a standing seam, but it's got the ribs between the seams, okay? So it's not,
Oh, it's not a smooth standing seam.
it's not a smooth standing
But it's all
seam.
hidden fastener.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
And some of
The existing roof is composition shingle.
Correct.
So if she went that route, then we could approve that very easily.
And if you're not going to approve the G-rib, then it will be a 30-year asphalt dimensional shingle.
I
mean, I-
prefer that over an exposed fastener. And you'll have a roof that'll last a lot longer, in my opinion. And it's not the metal that'll rot over time. Metal's gonna last a long time. It's just fasteners won't.
What's
They won't hold up.
that neoprene or whatever it is, the washer that holds it down, that's what starts
That's
to
the
go.
problem, yes.
Like dry rots. Yeah.
Correct. Dry rots after 10 years, then you gotta replace them. Might be okay on a barn or something, but, well, it's a garage barn, but.
So I guess
still.
what we're saying is we will not approve the exposed fasteners. And this isn't the first project we've run into. You know, we've told people if they want a metal roof, you cannot have exposed fasteners.
Yeah, metal
So
roof,
if your option is to go with a dimensional asphalt shingle, then that's,
or standing seam metal.
or a standing seam without exposed
Yes.
fasteners.
My person's not equipped to do that, so I agreed that we would
Standing
go
seam.
with the asphalt shingle.
Okay. And that would be asphalt shingles to match
It'd be black.
pretty closely to the house, yes. This
Oh, no,
house
the-
black?
The house has slate.
Slate?
Yeah.
Wonderful. It's a nice looking roof. I'm glad to hear you're keeping the slate roof too on the house. So just black shingles, okay? Check that off.
Okay, how about the siding?
We have a sample of the color. As you hold that right up.
Vanna,
Is that the sage?
no, this is sage.
Oh, so I was gonna say, that's really dark for sage.
You can pass that around.
So that's
We'll-
the
we'll give it
8-inch
back to you when we're
profile.
done.
Yep, with the color of the same.
Thank you.
This is in preservation area, is it not?
I said it was Old Town.
Old Town?
That's what it says on here.
Yeah, it's within the
Okay,
preservation district.
I was looking at the application form, it didn't say.
And what was this?
That's the color of the,
That's
this-
the color of the vinyl siding will be, but it'll be that vinyl siding in that
I
color.
was looking here.
It'll be this vinyl siding and this color?
Correct.
Okay.
I like the sage, that's very pretty. It goes with
So
your
is
shirt.
this historical
Girl thing. Very
versus
nice.
preservation?
And your house is white, correct?
Well, it's really a cream,
Okay, semi-white.
but you'll see on the next thing is to eventually make it that.
You're gonna do the sage on the house. Good, that makes me feel better. That's gonna be pretty.
There's a lot of gaps and corners and everything. I have birds living in my siding, so.
I love Jade.
And what color is the softened fascia, is that sage also?
Or white.
White.
No, I'm asking. Is it
Oh, I
white?
get a picture of the house.
it's the next
I don't know. If you tell me it's gotta be whatever, then I'll
Then you'll make
relay
it that.
They came to us last.
What color's on the house?
They're gonna
The
do
trim.
Oh,
The trim
Off-white.
is,
Green.
well, some of it's that tan color that's on the fishtail things on the front. Some of it's white.
the next application has photos of the house.
okay.
The next application, the applicant is, we'll discuss next, is they're wanting to replace the 4-inch vinyl on the house with an 8-inch vinyl to match the garage.
Perfect.
Or
That'd be pretty.
So we'll cover that, we'll cover the house next.
Well, we almost need to cover one so the other matches. And it says here, based on the guidelines, that it's preferred to have a 4-inch profile as opposed to a wider profile to create the more historic look. Based on this.
Yeah,
So what we do on one, we should technically do on the other.
no, I agree with that.
Dave, I would say you're probably our local historian here architecturally. What's the history of 8-inch siding on old buildings? Was that a thing?
Well, you know what, the house next to me has 8-inch siding.
8-inch siding?
Yeah, it's the big stuff. And then at the gable ends, they have something a little different that's not 8, but it's almost like a brick looking siding. It's not brick though.
Okay.
My reasoning is I don't like all those lines for dirt to sit in and everything, and there's like next to none on this.
Oh, you're talking about the
Wood grain
the
lines.
wood grain
Yeah,
finish, yeah, whereas yours will be more of a smooth.
almost, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, you know, there's probably a mixture of 4-inch and 8-inch siding. And, you know, I mean, I've seen 6. You know, my next door neighbor put like 6 3/4. That's just what the hardy board ended up.
6 3/4 reveal.
Yeah, something
Okay.
like that. But I've seen I've seen more than just one size.
Okay.
I mean, mine has 4, the
Mine
neighbor
does
across
too.
the street. My next door neighbor has 8. So it's a mix.
One across the street from you that was just redone is
6.
8.
It's a 6 exposure.
One on the corner,
Yeah, it's a 6-inch exposure.
6-inch exposed. Okay. Right. Yeah, like I said, I was just basically
Right.
commenting on what the guidelines talk about. And I haven't been in this seat that long, so it's been a while.
Well, I mean, these are the guidelines, you know?
Yes.
And this is a new, not new construction, but new remodeling.
Does their 4-inch siding have the same texture as what your 8 is showing? So you would have the same issue that you're, for the dirt, like you mentioned?
Well, on the house,
Yes.
it has the same.
No, but if your
Yes.
next proposal, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are the windows of the garage going to remain and the man door?
Yes.
And they're going to be trimmed out as they are now?
Yes.
And where will the placement of these lights be that you propose?
The one would be on the back of the garage, there'd be one in the middle, about where those doors are. And the other one, there'd be one on each side of that window. That's the alley side.
You know what, I think we're gonna have to stick with what the guidelines say. How do you guys feel about that?
As in the 4-inch?
4-inch? Or we say 6, or something like, you know. I mean, I've seen them both widths all over town.
Yeah.
Do you know if this is available, what you're looking at?
This
in
siding
6?
is not available in just this.
It's not available in 6?
I'm not aware of any 6-inch vinyl in the city. Usually 6 or 8s are aluminum.
It's either 4 or 8?
Usually, I don't think I know of any 6 or 8-inch vinyl in the city. It's normally 4, either in a lap or a Dutch lap. Once you get anything taller, all the new construction's been hardy.
I mean, the house next to me, that isn't vinyl, it's a hardboard, actually.
Or a smart
That's
smart
got-
siding?
Yes, it's a hardboard.
Is this in a historic area or preservation?
The property is on the preservation district.
Preservation, okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
the only difference in the two guiding documents is the preservation district does not require paint approval. The historic district does.
Okay. This preservation area is more lenient on vinyl siding, on alternate siding other than wood? Up to us.
I mean, the preservation district, the Old Town guidelines don't have any difference between them. Zoning regulations don't allow for vinyl siding in the historic district.
Correct. But down the street, I remember years ago, we approved I believe, a vinyl within a preservation area.
On the garage along North High Street, that was one.
Which one?
There's a garage on the corner of North High and 33.
Okay.
That garage had aluminum siding, and it got approval to have a vinyl siding to match the house put on it.
Okay.
That's the only one I'm immediately aware of.
How about the White House right behind Casperson's house on Washington, on the west side of the street? It's
Oh.
got the black shutters.
So they just did, that is
Yeah.
a 6-inch hardy,
Okay, that's Hardy.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the catalog cuts for the siding, they have 4s and 5s. The third to last page.
noted that when you were shopping the siding, those other sizes had more of a wood grain texture. That's what led you to
Right.
that.
That's what I was trying to stay away from.
Have you looked at any other manufacturers
To find this,
to have a smoother profile siding?
I think because of the guidelines, we should seriously consider about not using the 8-inch.
Well, that was my main concern, based on, guidelines that, says we're not, shouldn't be going to thicker stuff. What's on there right now? Is that 8 inches on there right now?
yes,
There is? Okay.
aluminum,
And it's aluminum, okay.
what still has siding on it anyways.
Can I see that sample again of the siding? Oh, thank you.
It's actually Dutch flat. 5-inch.
The same.
4-inch double. Yeah, it looks like the 5-inch, just is slightly grained, just not wood. It's not as smooth as I thought it would be, but.
I mean, that piece that you're holding right now has a texture to it, though.
It is
Yes.
textured,
Not
yeah.
not as
It's-
significant as what the pictures look like, but yes.
Yeah,
It's almost like a leather kind of material, but. I like it.
looks like what they call granite siding. If I'm looking at this down below, then sea slate siding, then timber siding. Let's try to, well, what they got here.
Where are you looking, Pat?
That third page, it has the
Oh,
45.
this down here.
I believe, Pat, that's just a color. Because those are pallets they're showing.
Text double siding. Yeah, I always have to research this, see if they actually got a smaller profile.
Well, it looks like they have the color that you want, even in the 5-inch. That sage. I mean, I think I could agree on the 5-inch, just not the 8-inch.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the 8-inch kind of looks kind of 50, 60-ish. Doesn't really look back to the period that I think we're
Right.
driving for in the preservation area, though it's not a historic area.
Well, did you say that when you were looking at the house, you saw what profile siding was underneath the vinyl?
Underneath the vinyl is wood.
And it's did you say it was a tighter 2 1/4, 2
No, I think it's the 4.
4? So the next
It was a piece
application
of the front porch.
is the main house itself, replacing the siding on it.
Yes, and obviously, I think the garage and the house should, match, we want to match in color, right? Okay, so I think it should match in color and of course profile too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so, I mean, would you be okay with the 5-inch profile?
Does it have the profile that's on there, the smoother?
The texture.
If it has the texture that, in the texture that you presented,
Right.
yes. Would that be okay? I think it would give a nicer look to your house in the long run than the tall profile. I
You know, I'm
think it gives
afraid-
more of a period-like look.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, I think it's just more stable. A 5-inch is more stable than something that's 8 inches. You won't get, when the heat hits
As
the
much
vinyl.
fluxing with it.
Because you can see what it does to coil, that runs up the rake.
Mhm.
you'll start to see bows out,
Yeah.
the expansion and contraction of it.
So all your fascias are gonna be metal then, and then the soffits will be vinyl?
If we went to, give me a second here.
Go back to this application here.
Soffit and fascia is
We went
noted.
with the shingles,
Soffit and fascia supposed to be
he
wrapped
said the
in
vinyl
aluminum.
would,
Okay.
the soffit would be vinyl and the fascia would be aluminum.
Okay, got it.
So, and above the garage door, the fascia, there's a little bit of detail up there with the crossbuck and at the peak, you've got some detail there. Will that be?
Yeah, all he said
right?
was taking out those two doors, because I said I would never use them.
So those are operational?
Yeah.
I don't know if those doors need to be there.
No,
They don't need to be there.
but the
No.
detail at the peak is staying, the,
Yeah, he didn't tell me he was taking that out, just the doors.
I'd say without the doors, that V probably doesn't need to be there either.
No.
I don't think it really adds anything to it, so.
Mm-hmm.
Are you replacing the wood around the garage door in the windows, or is that just wrapped in?
Almost all of it's rotted,
Okay.
so yes.
And is that going to be replaced and then wrapped in metal also, or vinyl? We're not sure. Don't mean to quiz you.
Remember the part at the beginning about no question?
Yeah.
We've already exceeded that.
All right.
I don't know.
All right.
Okay, does the front of the garage, okay, we're looking at the back or the rear, where the side that faces the house, the back of the house. The top
That's one
right
about the door and the
picture.
3 windows.
Yeah. It doesn't look like there's any overhang at all, right?
There's not.
There's not
no
even a fascia.
No soffit, fascia, eave, nothing.
I mean, I just wonder how you keep moisture from getting down behind
sorry.
the siding unless the the roof shingles overhang the siding.
It would have to have one heck of a drip edge to it. Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen a detail like that before.
No. As a kind of a shortcut when it was made. Actually, that whole back side facing the house would look a lot better if you put a rake up there and actually created an eave. If you're re-roofing it and you're re-siding it, probably wouldn't take that much more to add that.
And what we're talking about is
12
just
inch
a little
overhang.
overhang. See the picture right below it? You see the garage door, and then it looks like there is some reveal. I don't know what it is, maybe 6, 8 inches or something like that.
Yeah, probably not much more than 8.
I would do that on the other side also.
Yeah,
I think you could eliminate a lot of problems down the road
yeah.
by doing that. And since you're redoing the siding and the roof, it would be the opportune time to do it.
And it would look a lot better. It would look a lot more polished. If you're just doing that, it would cost probably a fortune. If you're doing that in conjunction with everything else that you're already doing, your wheels are already in motion, I would,
It's minimal, yep.
what's that? Yeah, I would
Minimal,
definitely add the overhang in the back.
Well, does that make sense, this overhang that's right here in the front? Have one added to the back? Because right now it's just completely flat. Okay. I know you said no questions, but I want to make sure you understood the conversation. Sorry.
And then, so we're good with like the 5-inch siding,
Well, 4 or 5 inch.
4 or 5.
4 or 5-inch siding, trim white to go with the sage. Since that hasn't been spelled out here, adding a rake or a soffit fascia to the house side of the garage. Gooseneck style windows are okay, asphalt shingles or standing seam metal. And what about the concrete? Are you replacing the whole concrete driveway?
I don't know, that's
Or
what
just
he
adding a
said.
drain?
He's taking out,
To reslope the pitch of the garage to the shed. Pitch it just to the garage or to shed water and applicants propose to install French drain. or
I just don't know
extension.
where you're gonna take the water.
well, I know that Andrew asked that, and I asked the contractor, and he said it would be regarding the trench drain in the driveway, yes, we will ensure it is properly directed to an appropriate outlet point. Based on the current site conditions, the most feasible solution would be to daylight the drain to the curb or tie it into an existing stormwater system if one is accessible and permitted.
Are there gutters on this garage?
No.
No, okay.
No,
And then when I ask about putting gutters on the garage, they're like, okay, where are you gonna drain that? I already have Trine Lake in my driveway. And if it rains a lot, then it's also halfway into my garage.
Yeah.
so I talked with our public service director a little bit, a couple days before this meeting. The elevation on Trine Street is actually higher than her garage, looking at it, so they wouldn't be able to drain it towards Trine.
Okay.
In about a year, we're gonna have a storm line that will run along the alley here, and we plan on putting a stub that went this direction. So it's possible, in the future that it could drain back up the alley to a future connection point, but nothing exists today. We haven't constructed the line yet.
I've heard all kinds of stories from,
But
neighbors that have been there a lot longer than me.
Not for a storm line, no, but,
Okay.
but yeah, so for at this moment, I couldn't figure any good way to drain it, unless they got an easement from like a property owner to the south to go through someone else's property to go somewhere else, but
The big storm sewer in the place across the street,
that's what we're replacing,
right here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to replace that whole line that it's tying into and connecting.
Okay.
So it won't outlet the same way it does now. So today, there's not a really good answer, but in the future, if they set it up for a drain to be tied into, hopefully we'd have a better solution for not only this applicant, but there's a couple other properties to the north that have similar issues.
What about the pavers?
Permeable pavers?
Yeah, that are just,
I don't think the volume of water you got going there, I'm not sure permeable pavers would do it. Would handle that flow of water.
Well, I know he mentioned putting it right up at the garage, right past the garage door, that it would be either a trench drain or a French drain.
More than likely, they're looking at a trough drain across the driveway that'll catch the water. But once you catch that water,
Where does it go?
Yeah, you need somewhere to put it.
where's it go?
Oh, I already know where it
yeah.
goes. In my garage.
Yeah, other than your garage, anywhere but your garage.
but you know what they did at the
Yeah.
back of my lot that drains the sump pump and all the roof surface on the back side of the house is they buried a plastic
Well.
tank, little tank,
Yep.
maybe 50 gallons, 100 gallons, that had holes in it.
Yep.
So once the water hit that, it just leaches into the ground, and even the worst case rains that we've had, it's got a little pop-up valve to relieve the pressure if there's too much water, and I've never seen that pop up.
And it seems to be working.
And it's been there for 7 years.
At the end, your contractor will just have to show us what they plan on doing, but I did just want to make you aware that there's no storm line in the back for it to get to currently, but we're looking at doing a construction project next year to build one, because we're relocating a storm system.
Rumor has it that there was one that was collapsed when the alleys were put in. I'm just saying. Like I said, all these people were telling me what's happening in the neighborhood, and that, my shock when I had all my boxes and stuff sitting in my garage, and all of a sudden they were soaking wet because my garage was full of water.
Or you tear down your garage and raise it like up 8 inches. Or 12 inches.
And raise it up?
Raise the floor of the garage.
Yeah, that wasn't in the conversation with this guy, but he said he could fix it without raising the foundation of the garage. I don't know.
Well, he might be able to redirect it, but there's gonna be puddles somewhere if it's not there at your driveway.
Well, and doing it now then won't work if you're gonna do it in a year or something, but the rest of it, it's,
Yeah, I
Does your
think,
side yard stay wet at all?
I
In
know.
this area here?
oh, that's only this wide, and the alley's there.
The alley's there, how much room you got between, show a footprint of.
yeah, Lola, what I would do is I'd have your applicant
That one,
figure
that
out,
much.
your contractor figure out how he planned on doing it so we could look at it.
I would just like, for your sake, make sure whatever they put in will
gonna
work,
work,
rather than just put in a trench drain. And I've seen this before, people put in trench drains, they don't direct it anywhere. Like,
We
how does this
haven't quite
actually-
got to that point, but there will
Yeah.
be the question that it's guaranteed before I pay him that much money to do it.
Yeah, well, that's good, that's good.
But I think aside from that problem with the water, we can still approve the rest of this
Yeah.
application with
So she can
the
move forward.
roof and the siding and that 6 or 8 inch wide
4 or 5.
rake on the back, on the other side of the garage. You agree?
Yes, yes. So is that a motion?
No, I thought it was just a comment. I'll do them.
I
Is
think
this
I have them all
018
written
that
down
we're
here.
talking about?
017.
I think I've got them all written down if you need to go for it. You guys can jump in. I'll make a motion to approve CA-25-017 with the conditions of an asphalt shingle roof or standing seam roof, the 4 or 5 inch vinyl siding with white trim, adding a rake soffit fascia to the, I guess you'd call the front and rear of the garage. Is there any other things needed?
Yeah, I just want to
add
add that there are no exposed fasteners allowed if she decided to go with metal.
Correct.
Yep.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call. Roger White,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Patrick Lynch,
Yes.
Linda Henry,
Yes,
Rich Dodd, yes, David Krieger.
Yes.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
I did.
And then the conditions I have, asphalt shingles or standing seam with no exposed fasteners, a 4 or 5 inch max vinyl profile, and then add a rake to the east side of the garage roof elevation at 6 or 8 inches in depth.
And did you mention the asphalt dimensional shingles?
Yes,
Okay.
Also white trim.
white trim, thank you. Sage color white trim,
yes,
Yep.
thank you.
That'll look sharp.
yes. it'll
I like
look
that
nice.
sage.
The next application, CA 25018, the request on this application is for new vinyl siding on the main home. The home currently features a 4-inch vinyl siding, lap vinyl siding. The front gable here does have some decorative wood trim, as well as some exposed wood pieces underneath the soffit here on the sides of the home. The applicant has provided a good number of photographs for your guys' consideration showing the condition of the existing vinyl siding, as well as some of the problem areas that they're looking to get corrected. The applicant submitted this application with the same 8-inch sage siding to match the previous application for the garage. The applicant does note that the soffit and decorative trim are noted to remain the same as was currently on the home.
All of the soffit in that fishtail thing are all wood.
You mean above the porch roof?
I'm sorry?
This?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't intend to change them, I just haven't found somebody who
But no, I like
I can
it.
trust getting on my slate roof to paint that upper part.
What's the exposure on the siding on the house? It looks a lot less than what's on the garage.
It is, it's not, doesn't match the garage at all. The
Oh, I know.
garage-
No.
That's vinyl, the garage was aluminum, and the garage was 8-inch.
At the front of the house, the porch above the, it has some type of a decorative wood
Scallops.
scallop there. Is that going to be,
It'll stay.
it will stay?
As soon as I find someone to paint the wood soffits and that, I'll be back. Because I haven't found anybody that I trust to get up on that, because the roof is all slate, and they're gonna have to get on the slate roof in the front and back.
Also, the skirting of the front porch.
Is wood and white. We did that before from last year.
Yeah, I remember this.
That's
You
right.
were here before us last year.
Thank you.
So basically, this house siding will match the garage siding
Right.
in color, in trim color.
I think it's 6-inch.
It's 13.
13 by 6'8". Yeah, so 6-inch siding. So based on the calculation, you got 6-inch siding on the house already.
Okay, I thought so, but somebody over here at the end kept saying 4, so I was, believing him.
I asked for pictures with tape measures for a reason. No tape measure, I go, that looks like a 4
We just
inch.
calculated based on the door
In this picture here,
with it.
it shows the basement window with a corrugated metal shade on there. Is that going to be
Basement.
the basement window above these steps that are,
to nowhere.
Oh, that's a little chicken coop thing sitting on those lovely cement steps that go to nowhere.
oh, so that is not,
That's not part of
not
this.
part of the house? Okay, thank you.
It's like a giant
Did
bird
there used to
feeder.
be a door there?
Previous to me, I understand, yes, but I don't know when it went.
The history of old homes.
You know what? What are you gonna do with the soffits?
They stay
I
the
mean, I
same.
love these soffits.
They
on the
stay the
house.
same.
They'll stay the
They stay
same,
the
as-
same, yeah.
and
Okay.
they'll be painted as soon as I find someone.
Okay, that's awesome. I like these soffits.
On the front door, there's, the header of the door shows a more trim than, more detail than any other window in the house.
Yeah, I'm guessing when they put the siding on, they took it all off.
On the rest of the windows, but the door
Right.
shows. no
Right, and the
detail.
transom's still on the door and the
And you try to
trim.
keep that. And
Yeah, there's a
around.
stained glass window in there I had made to put in there, so.
So you're basically saying you want the capital above the transom window to stay?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Good, good. Good. All right. I think this is in order with the exception of the vinyl being 4 to 6 inch profile and trim all to be painted white and keeping the scallops over top of the porch and the fascia and soffit as is.
So the width of the trim, the corner trim on the front of the, or on the house will stay the same?
All trim sizes stay the same, yes.
Yes, okay.
Were you eventually painting the scallops white or sage?
I haven't figured that out yet.
You could actually do that in a complementing color, like a deeper.
Well, because right now they
Different
really
shade.
are tan, and so are those other things on the side are a tan color, but you gotta be pretty darn close to know that.
Yeah. There's a house on Columbus Street that has a similar detail where the scallops up top are slightly darker color than the rest of the house, and just the offset looks kind of nice. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve CA-25-018 with the condition of matching the 4 to 5 inch siding from the garage, and that all trim to be white, and the scallops will remain, and the soffit detail will also remain. Anything else, Commission?
The transom,
The transom above the front door will remain.
I'll second.
Roll call, David Kirkcraft,
Yes.
Rich Dobde, yes. Linda Henry,
Yes.
Patrick Lynch,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Roger White.
yes.
Thank you.
You're good?
Thank you.
And who has the siding?
Oh, here. Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Do you have the sage piece too?
I know, I do have it.
You got it.
The next application is CA 25-019. The address is 114 North Trine Street. The request this evening is for a new roof on the detached garage and a new privacy fence around the rear yard. The subject property up on the screen here, little unique from my research in our inventory, was constructed in the early 1900s. The one-story portion closest to the garage is the original part of the house. And then everything, as it makes its way to the railroad tracks, or additions over time, a little backwards than what I would have thought and what I kind of talked to the current property owner about over the phone. Just traditionally, the taller parts are the oldest parts of the home. The applicant is looking to replace the existing corrugated metal roof with exposed fasteners on the garage with a new asphalt shingle roof to match what the prior property owners put on. They've noted in their application here the numerous holes and rusted areas. It looks like the metal roof on the garage has been sealed and painted a couple times to try to stop some water intrusion, but this property owner is looking to replace it with a new asphalt shingle to match. Additionally, in the rear yard, there are several fence styles to encompass the rear property. You have a wood 4-foot fence along the north, a chain link fence along 2 sides. The applicant does note they're going to be removing this red line section of fence shown on the screen, and they would like to replace the fence that's encompassing the rear yard with this new 6-inch wood privacy. Any questions for me? Be glad to help answer. Applicant's here to answer any questions you guys have for him.
So in this picture here, look at this one. The red line, that can be a 6-foot,
That's going away.
that's going away, okay.
The 6 foot's going around where all the other fences behind the property, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. This profile right here, good side facing out, the rails facing in.
Yes.
Zoning has no problem, Andrew, with a 6-foot fence?
No, the limits, as shown on this screen, are appropriate for that height.
Okay. Is the fence going to be painted at all?
No.
It's just natural?
It'll be,
Natural gray, that's good. Your corrugated metal roof, you get a lot of leaks with all those exposed fasteners?
Yes.
Case in point.
let's bring her back.
Yes, she needs to hear this.
So is the fence cedar or pressure treated?
Cedar.
Cedar, okay.
Better yet. And then garage roof is matching the house, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, this is straightforward. I motion to approve CA 25-019
I'll second.
as stated.
Who seconded?
Whit?
Roll call, David Kirkcraft,
Yes.
Rich Dobley, yes. Linda Henry,
Yes,
Patrick Lynch,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Roger White.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Be
you.
nice improvement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sean, if you just want to follow up with me the next couple of weeks about the front porch. Awesome, thank you. The next application, CA 25-019, the address, oops, sorry, just did that one.
We just approved that one.
Is 020, address is 24 East Mound Street. The applicant noted that she was not feeling well this evening and asked to be postponed to next month's agenda. So if I get a motion to table this application to the May 27th
I
meeting,
make a
please.
motion that we table CA 25020 until our May meeting.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Roger White,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Patrick Lynch,
Yes.
Linda Henry,
Yes,
Rich Dobley, yes. David Kirkcraft.
Yes.
Next is CA 25021, address is 80 West Waterloo Street. The applicant this evening is requesting installation of new HVAC railing alterations, and a new landscape package for the subject property. Up on the screen is a photograph of the subject property. This was originally a residential home constructed in 1888. In the early 1990s, it was converted to commercial use. The applicant, has a series of HVAC screening components they are requesting with this application, so I want to run through them one by one with you. The first is on the west side of the building. The applicant is requesting to install a new cedar screen around this HVAC unit, horizontal rail in style with a cap. When looking at the east side of the building, towards the front, there is a larger existing lattice screen that the applicant's looking to replace with a more privacy style enclosure that is solid. This will have gates on it for the trash cans. This enclosure also houses the electric meter and stuff behind it, not for as tight of a location for the air conditioning unit in the corner. And then along the rear entry of the building, there is an existing handicap ramp. The applicant's looking to update the railing on those two sides to match some of the other work that's being done on the site. This is also noted to be a raw cedar material. Lastly, the applicant has also proposed this master landscape plan to dress up the property after all the HVAC enclosures and new railing has been completed. So if there's any questions for me, glad to help answer. Applicant's here to answer any questions you guys have on the project.
I just don't know why we're getting rid of the vinyl, lattice. That should really stay. I don't know, I'm on the fence about that. But anyway, no, thank God we're getting rid of that vinyl. Ugh. No, I like it. My question is with this, I like the details around the trash can enclosure. It's got the verticals and it's got, looks like a post or trim or something around it. I'm wondering if the rail that's by the front door and the other AC unit the way there's no trim down or post down the side, if that doesn't create more of a contemporary look of sorts, because you see that horizontal boards with no trim on the edge is used a lot in modern architecture, but.
You mean the horizontal?
The horizontal, yeah. Would it be more appropriate to have those dead end into posts or put at least a trim piece there or something? A vertical trim piece, you see what I'm talking about? Just going with the period of the home. If this is contemporary home, I'd say that's a great looking fence.
You know, we can add some end trim to square it off a little bit more.
That are terminated into a post or something, one of the two.
Well, I mean, my question was, why are there, you know, on the back and on the west side, it's horizontal fencing or slats, but on the other side, it's all vertical?
Well, we did horizontal on the two AC, or the AC only for airflow. The air conditioner is inside of that enclosure, so there's enough
Okay.
air. And they wanted to screen it off so they can put the trash cans and not have any view in, because we didn't want any spacing.
You mean on the trash enclosure?
Yeah, between the pickets.
That's all
on the-
solid board.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
want it to be a solid screen, so you can't even see in it. And the other ones are more open.
Yeah, I'm okay with the vertical and then the horizontals, just, like I
You're just
said,
thinking about how to finish the
I think just a
horizontal.
finished horizontal trim on, finished vertical trim on
Right.
horizontal panels, I think would make it blend in with the house a little better than, like I said, a more contemporary look that is shown in the picture. Other places I think would look great.
Yeah, we can add some trim
Yeah.
to finish the ends, that's fine.
So some of the heights, like on the west side is 3 foot.
How high is it by the front door? That's 3 foot, yeah.
Yeah, that's 3 foot. And then
That's fine.
where on the other side with the gates, is that, how high is that?
That one's gonna be a little taller, so we can screen get it to the top of the electrical meter and get the trash cans in there. Make sure you can't see the tops of them.
But not to exceed 6 feet.
No, yeah, no, it's not gonna
Yeah.
be 6 feet.
Well, you know what, just looking at on this page right here, you know, with the lattice.
Yeah.
Usually the lock set of the door is about 36 inches.
Uh-huh.
So you have 2 steps, so it'd be 36, 44,
Yep.
would be less than 6 foot, maybe it's closer to 5 foot.
Yeah, I think it's the real.
That meter's
dimension.
not gonna be more than 5 foot high, plus it's gotta be at eye level to read it, so, yeah, so.
How's the commission feel about raw cedar compared to, like, I just looking at that entryway and the white looking actually nice there. Is it okay, you guys feel okay about that being unfinished?
Well, that's one thing that,
You mean on the rear entrance?
Yeah, the picture there.
that was still up in the air with the client because this was brought to our attention, needed to be in front of the board. So that was one detail we were going to work out later. He was going to look at our work when it was done to see if he thought he wanted to stain it white or leave it that, or leave it natural. So if you guys have an opinion, I
Doesn't
think I
affect
can.
you one way or the other.
I think it's fine for me. I left it up to his decision, but that was before.
I mean, I think it might
Andrew
look
let us
nice
know
if
we
it
needed to
was
be here.
more finished look than wood.
It looked way more
The white.
finished if it was stained
like
to
the
match
white.
or painted to match the house, yes. Yeah, the structure.
Well, I don't know if you want to, I mean, I would say maybe white versus
Yeah.
what the color of the siding is.
I mean, even the.
Or is that white?
Even this beautiful lattice is white, so, you know. Ugh.
Well, that's one of the positives of this whole project, getting rid of the lattice.
All right.
Now, on the landscaping, would somebody on staff review this like Dick Miller to see if all this is appropriate?
No, no, there's no trees on our prohibited landscape list shown on here. And that's as far as you'd really go on this landscape plan, because there's no landscaping they're taking out that was a required landscaping, so this is all just a beautification project at this scale.
Okay.
Really nice.
The only, I guess, comment, and it's not really one for the board, but for you, when I was taking this photo kindly from Google, and I went out today to try to take a better one, this tree is like blocking the front door visually. And I saw in your proposal, you're putting a bigger tree in front of the building. Just didn't know if there was any reasoning behind that. I guess just, again, I'm not a voting member, but personally, I feel like it's hiding the main entry of this facility.
You want to take a shot at answering that?
I can answer that, yeah. The type of tree to say a frontier elm is more of a large shade tree. So the idea being is the canopy will be high enough that it will not block the view, no different than a street tree, correct? Yeah.
He's got it.
An ornamental tree like what you see in front of the door, which is currently a bad look, excuse me, not a great look. You're right, that does block the front of the house, but the raised canopy shouldn't be a problem. Now, I don't know whether that should be straight in front of the door, maybe offset more to one side.
We just had it hidden in where the sign is. That's where that plan
Oh,
is
okay.
based.
They're working around the existing sign.
So what's existing will be tore out?
Yeah. Most of it's already gone.
But the raised canopy of that, and the canopy would just keep going up and up as the tree gets bigger. They'll keep limiting it up, so you see more and more of the structure. So no different than a large shade tree, street tree.
Sorry I asked.
No,
And the
that's
rest
all
of the
right.
plantings, what's that?
Sorry I asked.
No, I just.
I mean, the front tail, I mean, I'm not familiar with a frontier elm.
Yes.
What's the mature height of a tree like that?
60, 80
60,
feet?
yeah, we'll find out.
Yes,
But
yeah.
it'll be a big tree.
It'd be a big tree, yeah. It's classified as a large shade tree. Yeah. So it's not an ornamental tree, it's classified as a large shade tree. No different than a maple, an oak, a honey locust, beech, or any of those other trees. Sycamore.
Andrew, has the owner reached out about maybe fixing or replacing the sign, since they're doing all this stuff?
Yeah, they got approval for a new sign last December.
Oh, okay.
So this photo here is from mid-2024.
Yeah, the sign has been replaced, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it was replaced.
Well, you know, I noticed
Beginning of this year.
there's either cable lines, power lines, or whatever they are. It looks like even in the front, you know, up in the left-hand side corner. So none of this big frontier elm will obstruct or have any negative side of the power lines in that area? And like I said, I can't tell if,
There is overhead power. You can see the shadow right here.
Yeah, looking at the picture, the telephone poles are right behind the curb, so there's some distance between those lines and the tree, you know.
Oh, 5, 6 feet.
Yeah,
what if you just didn't have it there, that tree?
It doesn't need to be there, I mean.
to get some shade on the front of the building.
I mean, that's the south exposure, isn't it?
Yes.
So utility lines are running right through here?
Yeah, they're right
That
off the
tree
curb.
line. It's kind of hard to see, the shadow kind of
Yeah, there's a pole there.
frozen
Yeah,
more
you can
towards
see
the.
Shadow. There's a pole there. That's a street light, I'm sorry. There's the pole.
No more difference than the street trees that get planted every day. It's probably a better situation than that.
Yeah, this bike path's 8 feet wide, so you're 12 feet away, 14 feet away.
I mean, I just wanted to make the comment.
How tall is this tree when planted?
It'll be 12 feet tall or so.
Gonna take it a while to get to 80.
It'll take it a while.
Not in our lifetime.
Yeah, it'll be underground or,
It's for the
But
next,
it'll come back to bite us. They'll say,
You'll still be
remember when
on here."
those guys in
I don't think any of us should be around for that
Yeah.
conversation.
I mean, to me, it's more of a Dick Miller thing, a question, because he's the arborist.
Pardon?
I mean, I told Andrew, it's
The
more of a,
arborist.
to me, it's more of a Dick Miller, he's the arborist in town.
Yeah.
To say yay or nay or what, you know?
I don't have any problem with the tree.
Yeah, I don't think it's,
The poles are in the tree lawn, so there's room.
And we're Tree City, USA, so.
Yeah, Big Tree City.
You're replacing the urban canopy.
Any more questions?
No. I move to approve CA 25-021 with the exception of the screens in front of the back door in the west side AC unit, the panels that are horizontal, that they actually have vertical trim of some sort at each end. And they also be painted to match the color of the house or the trim of the structure.
I'll second.
roll call, Roger White,
Yes.
Roy Wardell,
Yes.
Patrick Lynch,
Yes.
Linda Henry,
Yes.
Rich Dodd, yes, David Kirkhoff.
Yes.
Thank you, Mark. I'll
Thank
send
you.
you an approval letter in the morning.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last on tonight's agenda, CA 25022. The address is 102 East Waterloo Street. The request this evening, two-parter. One, to remove the external staircase on the west side of the building. The second is to install a new octagonal window on the third floor, same side of the building. Here's a photograph taken a year ago, basically, of the subject property. The applicant has been working on getting the siding prepped for new paint, also getting the contracts worked out for a new roof on the building. I've been working with him roughly since this photo was taken. As part of the ongoing work, the applicant has chatted with me a couple times about removing this metal stairwell on the west side of the building. I informed him the first step is to come before the Landmarks Commission, ask to get it removed, and then the next step would be filing for that removal with our building official to note that it was being removed, so it can be approved from a building code perspective. As part of the request, on the third floor here in the attic space, the applicant noted there are two, appear to be some homemade windows that he would like to remove. With the removal of the windows, the fish scale siding would be reproduced and extended all the way down in that gable, and a new octagonal window would be placed approximately where the shape is up on the screen, a little higher than what's currently there window-wise. The applicant noted these existing windows are about 6 inches off of the ground, so would like to raise this up for safety purposes to get them a little higher, but also wanted to put a window back in to provide light to that side of the attic space. Charles is here to answer any questions you guys have. He has a great wealth of knowledge on this property, so hopefully he can fill you in a little more details than what I have.
I have a question. What was the original purpose of that stairway?
Well,
when I bought this place around 50 years ago, and I've talked to people over the years, and the people that I bought off of, their last name was Carruthers, and the guy looked like Gerald Ford. And, you know, it was just when I first met him. And he was telling me that they had a lot of fun going around when they converted this to a 3-family right after World War II. And they would go around to salvage places to buy stuff. And those windows, Roger just showed me a picture of it, excuse me, where it shows those windows being there. I know they weren't those windows, because as you could see that hardware on there, they're designed to kick out of there in case of an emergency. So it's kind of weird setup. And I started to rehabbing this building back in 2016, beginning of 2017, went in for a back operation. Had to learn to walk again, get started back up, and you know, so I'm getting it back on track. And the painter is supposed to be there this weekend starting, but hopefully.
So it used to be stairs for access.
They're a fire escape, and the fire escape is no longer required, even though it's still a 3-family. From my research, if it was a 4-family or more, it would require that. And there's egress on the other side.
So it's one big open space up there.
Yes, it's a large efficiency apartment.
I noticed on the front elevation, is there a door that comes off that little ramp, or not ramp, but that little side porch?
No, that's a window.
That's a window.
Okay, that's a window.
Just same
Yeah, I thought
size
it
as the
was
windows
Okay.
around the corner.
Okay.
And that may not be original there either.
I mean, do you plan to keep it?
The guy that lives there likes it, so, I mean, I can take it out if you want me to. And, you know, the odd thing is, you've been talking a lot about cedar, and cedar siding's been used a lot. The original siding on that's poplar, which was okay back then in a horizontal use, in a vertical use, but not in a horizontal use, according to my research over the years. And now the poplar we get is just crap. It's not old growth, or, you know, it just rots in 15 minutes.
Well, you'll just be patching in the poplar siding, right? Wherever it might need it.
Okay. You can't get clear cedar siding anymore. At least I haven't been able to find it. So I was using southern yellow pine, which is rot resistant, and creating the siding. And so I've made it up, and I'm done patching it now for that, but there's a couple of boards and stuff that still need to be replaced. But the siding, like I said, all you can find is the knotty cedar, and that's not the look they have on that house.
Okay. But when the windows come out on that gable end, you are just going to...
Okay, should be a picture. You see that there. You see that? Now, I was told years ago that represented the moon and the stars, but I've not been able to confirm that. You can see the round part being the moon, and then the curved part being the stars, what I was told.
Interesting.
Okay.
Nice story.
Yeah, you know, we can pretend. But I've tried looking it up on the internet, and I can't find anything about that siding. The same siding's on the front in the gables. So, yeah, I don't know what that's made out of, that siding. Never had to replace it, but I bought a clear piece of cedar to make it up with if I got approval. And just replicate.
Well, I think it'll look good.
Yeah, and then it would be painted to match the rest of the house, which is 42 different colors right now, apparently. But no, it's going to go back to the gray that I started back in early 2017. And you can go around the back and you see some on the front. And I've replaced probably about 8 to 10 squares of siding. Because it was just,
Is this in the historical?
No,
I mean, do we
it's-
have to approve the color?
No.
Okay,
yeah, I already checked that. They said just go back with what you were doing.
okay.
But they did say, and it's not historic, but it's preservation.
Yeah.
And they told me if I was to change the color, I'd need permission. But from what I heard earlier today, you don't.
No, in Preservation District, you don't have to have a historical color palette. You don't have to get your palette approved by the board. The only time that colors really get reviewed is when it's in a pre-finished material. That's something that doesn't get painted. But if it's a natural material that has a lifespan to the paint, you don't have to get approval for it. So,
I mean, I like the detail of the rakes. Instead of one wide board, there's
Oh, yeah.
some detail
There's
to
a
it.
crown, then, like I said, you got the rake and then underneath there. So it, and there's, below that on the, I don't think there's a picture of that, but below that, around the house, if you could see over there and basically right behind the turret, you can't really tell, but there's a pulvinated section in the middle there, too. So they added half round. They've added a lot of detail like they don't today. I
Well,
guess-
that fire escape is pretty unsightly.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see that gone.
Yes.
Yeah. Huge improvement to the house. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
will be again, I hope.
Yeah, and that fire escape doesn't do anything for it. Where the two windows that are taken out and putting the octagon in, that's just attic space up there?
No, it's
That's
a, it's a
living
third,
space.
it's living space, but everybody puts stuff in front of it. If-
Okay.
You know, the guy's got cardboard in in front of it, and then a dresser behind it, you can see that. And
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, I can see in the photo that, or the postcard that Roger brought, it looks like they had curtains up there.
Mm-hmm.
But they are not those windows, I guarantee it.
Okay. Any more questions?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve application CA-25-022 as stated.
I'd like to second that motion.
And everybody's welcome to come over and help paint.
Roll call.
project.
David Craig,
Yes.
Rich Dobbs, yes. Linda Henry,
Yes.
Patrick Lynch,
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger Wood.
Yes.
So you said they're gonna start painting next week?
No, from what I talked, depending on the weather, because like the guy said, there's some bare areas there, and he goes, we need 48 hours of dry. And so it might just be some prep this weekend, and then get started on it. But the weather has been very fickle.
It is Ohio.
This is spring in Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't like the weather, just wait 15 minutes. So, did you say I need to put in another application somewhere?
so since they approved the stairwell being removed, the next thing you need to do is submit an application to our residential building official showing the removal of the stairwell. And basically, you're just gonna provide a floor plan showing that the other staircase provides egress to.
Yeah, there should be a picture of it.
So what we'll need is, you really just to draw a sketch that shows first floor, you have front door, back door, right?
Yeah.
Second floor, you have the stairwell on east and west side, the one on the west is being removed. The third floor, you have a stairwell on the east and west side, the stairwell is being removed. That way your occupancy shows from a fire department standpoint specifically, that you still have an escape route for those units.
Okay, so a photo won't work, but you have to have a drawing, is that correct?
You will want to have a floor plan to accompany the photos you submitted. So I would just draw something out by hand.
Okay, and I didn't get a name to submit that to.
You'll give it to me.
Okay.
And then I will give it to our building official.
Okay,
And then he'll review it. It'll take him, 2 or 3 weeks. He's third party, so we send it to him. And he'll flip through the residential code of Ohio and basically verify you only need one egress path based on your construction type and number of units.
okay. So just sketch something up
Yep,
and bring it in.
yep,
Okay.
yep.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
For old and new business this evening, I don't really have a super lot to cover, hardly anything. Wednesday this week, the zoning code steering committee is meeting to go over the zoning report analysis. It was basically an exercise our consultants did to take a look at our current code, come up with some major topics of discussion for either current trends that can't be accomplished with our code, legal issues with some standards we may or may not have, and also just figuring out how to reach some of the goals in our new zoning update. So I think Pete said he'll be back for that meeting on Wednesday. He was on a business trip, I think, till this evening or maybe even tomorrow. So if you don't hear from him on that update, feel free just to reach out to me. I kind of go over how that meeting goes. The kind of next stages in the plan or after this meeting, the steering committee will be more in-house administrative until the, I believe the first draft gets reviewed sometime around October, November timeframe by Planning and Zoning Commission, and after the steering committee gets a look at it. So you may not hear a lot from me until then about it, but the stuff's going to be going on behind the scenes. But again, feel free to ask questions if anything comes up. Really busy agenda tonight, so thank you all for sticking it through. I already have 2 for next month already, not including the one we just tabled this evening. So
Is this the most applications we've had at a meeting?
It's the biggest packet for sure.
it's the most that I can recall, but I have a feeling unless things slow down at a halt, you guys are going to have the busiest year you've ever had.
Of course, 2 of these people weren't here tonight. Well, the one that tabled it, Strawn.
Andrew, last year, we had the folks that live on Clinton Street and Groveport Road come in, and we recommended they do something with their fence.
Correct.
That has not been done yet.
No, it has not.
Did that house just sell?
It has not sold. They took it off the market. I did today, believe it or not, send them a correction order to get the fence repaired within 30 days or tear the fence down. So we will see how that timeline happens. But I did send a nice reminder email 30 days prior to today, letting them know that their expiration is coming. The email was not acknowledged, let me just put it that way. So I will, I'm on my next path to correction on that project.
Do we have any other situations like that coming up that we've made, that they need to fix something and the timeline is quickly expiring?
On the top of my head, no.
I don't think there is.
The only thing that I was aware of that has been given, I don't want to say like extensions because it's been one ongoing project, but like Cheney Mill, they got approval for standing their siding like 4 years ago, and they're still like putting new siding on. Now that project never stopped. So they didn't get the completion in the 12 months, but they've never like abandoned it.
So they still have to come in for their window treatment, for the little awnings over the windows.
Yes, they're supposed to come back for that, and then also their patio material details. Those should be coming, I believe, next month.
should have three, at least three.
There's 3. Anything else for me?
No.
I have a little correction, because you called it Cheney Mill, and it's actually Cheney Elevator. The mill burnt down. The mill was on the other side of the railroad track.
Well,
Everybody calls it that, sorry, but it's not true.
Cheney Elevator.
It's an elevator. The
Elevator.
OP Cheney Elevator.
Elevator.
Yeah. Sorry.
don't say it's
I'm the
ingrained, it's
historical
ingrained in
society.
my
Well, I'm
head
still probably gonna
from-
call it Cheney Mill, because that's what people,
Not if I can stop I mean, I'm a historical society, so that's what the
Linda's
stuff I'm
going
supposed to
down
point
with
out.
Grammar police.
I mean, I was on it too, but I don't have that passion.
I'll just say Cheney, Cheney.
Yeah, at the Cheney. Well, now it's gonna be at Elevate 1928.
No, 1828. It's when the city began. That's the title of the whole thing, is Elevator 1828.
See, and it'll be even more confusing because that building was built before 1828.
Are you sure about that?
So my
Don't
question
mess
is,
with me.
can we call it Canal, Winchester, CW, or it has to be Canal, Winchester?
Try and call it Canal, here, come on. See what happens. No, I'm anti-calling it Canal.
Canal, okay, got it.
It's, if you want a
CW,
short,
okay?
sure, I'll go with that.
Okay,
I'll
fine.
give you
Just
grace
checking.
on that.
Just
But
checking.
Winchester's okay, because we were originally
Winchester.
Winchester. And then the canal went through, and we wanted a post office, and there were 5 Winchesters in Ohio.
Yeah, so now
So they
we're
said,
Canal.
the post office named us Canal Winchester, we didn't. But, you know, I grew up here.
And we
So
took the post office from
we stole it
Waterloo.
from Waterloo, yes, a couple times, actually.
Couple times?
More than once, yeah. Bunch of drunk guys got over there and stole it in the middle of the night.
okay, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:52.
I'll second.
Roll call. David Kirkcraft.
Yes.
Rich Dobbs, yes. Linda Henry.
Yes.
Patrick Lynch.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger White.
Yes.